Okay, and if you need a live transcript, yeah. Okay, good. All right, I'm sorry. Okay. So now I would like you to really seriously think, how would you want to build a website? What is the message behind it? So example, if someone lands on the or visits your web page, now what is the first thing you would like them to see? And the first thing that they see should keep them attracted and invite them to further explore your web page. So that is how you should design it. So you need to like imagine or do some research and think, okay, let's take a look at the current website we have. So you need to ask yourself this, right? Because if you don't have that vision or imagination, then you might end up just putting up something and be happy about it, and it's not doing its real job. Okay, so today I'm going to show you some method of creating the landing page or the first page they come into. We're going to do it together, right? And from there, maybe you can have an idea of what will be good for your Baba Center's website. All right, so you need to think about that. And also, I would really appreciate if you can gather your own core team, 2 or 3 or 4 people, in your center, who is like a team, a website developing team, and who brainstorm ideas together and come up with that vision or imagination or ideas. So that will be really, really good. Okay, all right. So let's move on. Is there anybody who wishes to share something? Is Brother Santiago there? You want to say something, or is it okay for me to move on? Anybody else? And by the way, have you downloaded the images, the link which I gave you? I hope you have. Yes. All right, because we're going to use some of those images. Great, thank you. Some chat answers says yes. All right, thank you. So if you have, now you need to download those images into the folder which we created last week, not any other parts of your computer. All right, please store it there. So if you have not stored it there, I suggest you just copy it and paste it into that folder, that images folder, in that folder that you had created. Okay, all right. So, okay. So I think let's move on. Did I give you any exercise? No, I did not give any homework or exercise last week because it's just too early, all right? So, okay, let's move on. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. That the chat question, which images? Peace Village images? Yeah, I think I gave you some, what do you call, images, something like this. Let me just take you there. So these are some of the images. If you are looking at my screen, I gave you some images like this, which is from my drive. Some of it I created, some of it are from Google. And yeah, Sister Lata shared that in case you didn't get that, okay, in the chat. Please, you can download that and just keep it. So we are going to use one of this example. Let's take a look. Something like this. So I just did this thing. It looks very subtle. Now you tell me, I would like to ask you, if somebody lands on your page, your website, and they see this image, and then you have some wording here saying Brahma Kumari's meditation and so on. Now this is how you need to think, because the first image that they're going to look at your web page is going to create a lot of impact. Now, would you want to put Peace Village? You could. Why? because Peace Village is actually giving them the message that, look, we have a great resort where we teach meditation. Is that your aim? Good. Or would you like to show your photo center? And then you show, this is our meditation center. Is that your aim? Or as they land on your web page, would you like to think about the picture and say, wow, am I going to learn this thing? And then they're going to read up something. Is that what you want to show? Or you just want to have a lotus pond saying that we are very pure here and you're teaching something. Okay, I'm not sure. Some message, but very abstract message, which they may not even understand. It could be anything. So you need to really think, because when people land on the web page or visit your web page for the first time, you want to catch their attention, right? So you need to think like that. Okay, so I leave that to you for you to actually figure out. Or should I have something like this? So this maybe shows a flower here, nice, brilliant flower, and you says Brahma Kumari's meditation. Now think, what is the impact here? What is the impact of having a flower and having this or having this? It depends. All right. So this is what we're going to think. So this is your vision. You need to build up your creativity on this side, but probably you need a core team. You need a small team who can actually think about these things. Okay. So let me get out of this and let's get moving. So now I'm sharing my subline. Okay, I'm sharing my subline. I think everybody can see this. Now let's do this again. Let's do this again. Now, for those of you who have missed it, all right? Okay, for those of you who have missed it, now today we are going to create another folder and let's call it. So how do you create a new folder? All right, I'm going to save this thing. All right, okay. So if you double click on top of this, just like this, can you see? A new page will appear. Okay, again, I'll show it to you again. So here, when I open my subline, there's nothing here. So if you double click on the border at the top, see, an untitled file appears. Now let's save this file. I'm going to save this file, save as. Save as. Now make sure you go back to your same folder, not anywhere else. All right, and I'm going to call it as lesson 2. Let's call it lesson 2A, because we might have 2B, 2C, and so on. But today's lesson is lesson 2A. But make sure you have HTML, .html, because that's very necessary, because you're telling the web that it's a HTML code file. So that's how you save it. All right. So please do that for me right now. And I'm going to wait and please save it. All right. So it should appear like this, lesson 2A. I'm going to wait for you. I'm going to give you a minute or so for you to actually create this file. Let's call it as lesson 2A.html. This is the second week. So let's call it lesson 2A. I'm going to wait for you.
Brother
Yes.
Nanda, hello,
Yes.
How are you? Let me ask you a quick question.
Yes, please.
Last week,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of us, we had issues trying to save the impulse file into Chrome, as you suggested, because it actually reads better in Google, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, and that's actually my case, I know other people are having that issue as well, is that for some reason it's actually saving directly into Edge.
Yeah.
And I try to change the name, even though in another computer, but you know, I didn't seem to be able. Would you be able at some point in time, would you be able to explain how can we
Can.
rename it
Yeah.
and shift it from Edge to Chrome
Chrome.
so we don't lose that information?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. It's not a problem. You can actually change it anytime. So, all right. So today, let's keep it at H because it's not a problem as of now. But I will definitely show you maybe towards the end of this lesson on how we can actually change everything into Chrome. It's that easy.
Okay.
I will surely do that. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Everyone has done this lesson 2A. Everybody's okay. All right. So good.
Yes.
Any problems? Let me know. Okay. Good. Okay. Done. How? Sister Nilam is asking, how can we save? How can we save? Okay. You just you can the shortcut keys are Control S. All right. So you can have Control S, or you can go to this top part here, click that, and then File, Save As, Control Shift S. That's a shortcut key. If you don't want to go through this, just press Control Shift S. Can you see that? So it will suggest where to save, and then make sure you locate your folder. My folder is at the desktop, and I call it Website USA. And just save it anywhere here. Just type a name, lesson2a.html, and just save it. So that's how you save it. Okay? You okay? Okay. Right. So now let's. Yes.
I had a question about in my display. The font is coming very big. How can I, when my display page, the font is very, very big than yours.
All right. Are you using Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Good. Just try pressing Control-0. Does it solve the problem?
Control-0.
Yeah. Try.
Oh, Om Shanti, brother. I missed first class. So I'm just little, I have MacBook, and actually file you sent, link, it's open already in Safari.
Okay.
And you want me to save that file, which is already saved, I think.
Okay, that's fine. Just save it. But you should have last week's folder, because if you have not seen last week's lesson, it will be difficult for you to actually follow. So you need to go through last week's lesson because those are the very basics. Or you can just observe this lesson and get a rough idea. You'll probably understand 50% of it today might be, and then look at last week's video to fully understand. If not, you will get lost. Right? Okay, I'm really sorry. You need to watch the first video. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to take you now to Google. Okay, let's go to Bootstrap. So that's where our Bootstrap, remember the Bootstrap? Yeah. So type Bootstrap. So this is where we want to go into. So those who missed or did not see this or did not understand this, Introduction, Bootstrap, the version 4.6 is fine. You don't have to download, all right? So just Bootstrap, that's fine. Click on it. And then to start that file, you need to get your template. I hope you still remember the template. It's called a starter template. Please type starter template. All right. Click on it. I'm going to wait. So type here starter template. Copy it, please. Copy it. Okay, I'm going to wait for you. And those of you who know, please go on and paste it on the Sublime editor. You need a Sublime editor. So those who don't know or just joined, now this is called a Sublime editor. All right, you need to download Sublime text editor. Okay, so now I've copied this starter template, copied. Let's paste it here. Copy, paste, Control and V. So mine is Control V. Okay. All right, so I've got this stuff here. And I'm going to create some space here on 15. Line number 15, create some space because it's too close. All right, so that's where. So it doesn't matter how much space you have. Mine is now at 29, that's fine. And you can call this, what title do you want it? Let's call it lesson 2A, so it's clear. So you don't get confused. Lesson 2A. I'm going to call it, that's my title, lesson 2A. You okay with that? Good. All right. So let's save it. Remember, you must save it. Control S. Control S. So every time you save it, this cross here will change. Okay. So if it's not saved, it will be a dot. If it is saved, it's going to be a X. All right. Good. So I've saved it. Control S. So I've got this template. Now I'm going to show you a few other things today. Now let's check whether this is working. How do you check? So let's go to our website page. Where's that? This is my website folder, right? So today's lesson 2A. Last week we called it index. Today's lesson 2A. I'm going to double click on this. And it says hello world, right? Because that's what we have typed. So you can test it out. Type something else. What would you like to type? Brahma Kumari's meditation. Fine, let's type it out. Brahma Kumari's meditation. Yeah, save it. Don't forget to save. Shift, Control S. And then check. Refresh it. Refresh it. You must refresh. Yeah, so it's working. It's fine. You okay? Good. Now, what we want to learn today is we want to place a background picture. So either there are two ways of putting up or placing a picture. Either you can make it a background picture, which means no matter how much you scroll this thing, the picture or the background is going to be the same. Or the second way of placing a photo or picture is to make a box and then place that picture or image in that box. Two ways. Okay. Now let's see. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, let's learn some basics. Everybody's okay? Anytime, just interrupt me, all right? Because sometimes I'm quite fast. Okay, now the first language you wish to learn is called HTML. HTML is about the typing, what you type and how to put stuffs on the web page and so on. But then we have something we call, let's make this image bigger. Okay. Then we have something called CSS. You don't have to type this, I'm just showing you this. What is CSS? CSS is, we call it in another language, but it's the instruction to the web browser, to the web page about colors. What colors do I wish to use? Styling. What kind of style do I want to use? Style could mean what kind of lines, what kind of borders, what kind of images, all those things. Whatever styling you wish to do, make it beautify your web page. Make your web page pretty. That comes under CSS. You see that? Okay. So now, let's go back to my web page. Right now, I wish to have an image here on the background. I want to have an image on the background. So I need to tell my web page, I want a background image. So you need to give some information or instructions. Okay, so let's go into that. So now, all instructions, what I'm going to do is, you see, can you see the head? This is the head. What is the head? The head is the instruction for Google or the web browser to read and to connect. Then the body is where we are going to place the information, the data. The body is to place the data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place the instructions for colors, for styling between the head and the body. And I'm going to call it style. Please see this. I'm just going to type style and just press tab. STY and tab, T-A-B. Tab, press tab. Can you see that? It is suggesting, are you looking for style? Yes. You can press tab again, or you can just click on it. Can you see? So now it says, okay, I've opened a new column for you. I've opened a new section for you where you can put all your instructions. So this is called the style. You can place the style here, or you can place it on a different file, but today I'm just going to place it here. Okay, all right. So now I would like you to do this for me. Could you quickly type for me? I'm going to show it to you again, all right? Let's do it together. Just type style, or STY is fine, and then press tab. It suggests to you style. You can click on it, or you could press the tab again. Right? Okay, so you should have this. I'm going to give you some time, and then give some space for us to type the information in between. Okay, shall I give you, say, about a minute or 30 seconds? Please try that. I'm going to wait. Save it, please.
Question about this thing, the style, right? What you put the tag, is it mandatory to put after head and before body, like the positioning of that matters?
Yeah, generally we will place it between the head and the body, in between. Generally, that's best to follow for now.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes you could even remove this thing. That's also acceptable. There's no problem. Okay, somebody was saying something. Okay, so you should have a style. Remember, we must have an open bracket, arrow bracket like this, and then a closing arrow bracket. The closing bracket would mean a style with a /. Now, when you click on the style, can you see there's an underline, dotted lines here? You must have a pair. Every time you must have a pair. So whatever instructions you need to write, you can't write in open space. You need to have this open arrow brackets and close arrow brackets. All right, okay, good. So you're all right with that? Okay. Let's try something. Everybody's okay, good. Now I'm going to tell my web page, this editor, okay, I want to place an image, a background image. So let's type, and where do you want to place the background image? So it will ask you, where do you want to place the background image? I want to place the background image in the body. So I need to explain to style, all right, I'm going to place it into the body. So type body, and for style, the brackets are different. You need to use this bracket. Let's call it as curly brackets. You see? So type in, how do you get these curly brackets? Press Shift and just press that first curly bracket, which is beside the letter P. You should get this. Do you get this? So all styling must have a name. Where do you want?
Sorry, brother.
Yes.
After body, how can show a
This
color?
thing?
Yes. I am
Okay.
using Mac.
It's the same thing. So do you have this curly brackets? The brackets, is it beside the P button? P key?
P key, P.
P, O, P, and then beside that on the right hand side, is there a curly brackets? Shift, press shift.
Press shift, yes.
And press that button. Do you get that?
No. Okay, you will continue after I will find something.
So you need to locate, I'm not sure where is it in the Mac. This thing, you need to locate this bracket. It should be somewhere there, all right? Generally, it's beside the P, right-hand side of the key P, okay, alphabet P, okay. So now your information goes in between these brackets. So it's the body. Where do you want to place it? So please name it where. And then what? So it's where and what? Where is it you want to place in the web page? The entire body should have this. What do you wish to place? What do you wish to put in? So I'm going to say, okay, I want a background image. Is there a background? Can you see when I type BAC, it is suggesting, what would you like to have? So I'm going to put a background image. That's what I want. All right, so select background image. Now, if you look at this CSS, it has to have, after this wording, you must have these 2 dots. That's the beginning, that's the opening. And you must have the closing. So everything must have open and close, because if not, the web browser doesn't know where to start and where to stop reading. So this button here, right, if I delete, it's not going to read, it's going to get confused. So you must have this semicolon. This is a colon, this is a semicolon. Okay, good. Right, must always have this. So now I'm going to place my image. Which image would you like to place? Right. So to place an image, you just type URL. Can you see that? It is already suggesting to you. So just click on that URL. Just click that. Could you do that for me? Make sure it's exactly same, exactly. Make sure it's identical. Can you do that and save it, please? So I'm going to show it to you again for those who are not so sure. First, you type the body. Then you type your curly brackets, right? Which is shift and the curly brackets. And then press enter, give some space. So body and this curly bracket shows where you want to place the information. Now you have to tell the web page, okay, what do you want to place there? Let's put down background image. All right, background image. Okay. So background image, it is suggesting background image. That's it. It's very simple. Okay. And then you type URL, and it's already suggesting to you. So that's why it's good to have this editor. All right. So it's suggesting to you URL. All right. So URL is the instruction for the web page. Okay, what is it? What is it you want to place it here? Okay, you okay with that? Good. So let's have now a shift button like this. Can you see? I just pressed the comma, the inverted comma. It can be single or double. I just press single, doesn't matter. So I've got 2 stuff here. Can you see? Again, I'm going to do it again. Inside these brackets, please press the inverted comma. The single one will do. It doesn't matter, you can even have double, but single will do. Okay, good. Now inside here is where we want to place the image. All right, so far you're okay with that? So I'm hoping you have done this. Good. Now, which image would you like to choose? So I'm going to go to my folder. That's my folder. I'm going to open my images. So my file is called images. Can you see images? So I better type, okay. My image, the photo, the picture, which I'm going to place is in the folder called images. So I just type images slash, so that's where it is. I'm informing, I'm telling the web page, please look for the photo, the picture, which is in the folder of the images, and then give the name of the photo. That's it. So let's go back and see which is good. So I'm going to go back to my images. And no worries, I'm going to give you time. You choose something you like. I am going to choose BG1. Now, if you place your cursor or mouse on top of it, it's going to actually tell you item type. Can you see that? Let me make it bigger. Okay. Item type JPG file. So it's a JPG file. So I can, or if I place it on flower1, that's also a JPG file. All right. Now, let's again go on top of this. Now, then if you can read what it shows in the box, item type JPG file, that's important. Then it says the dimension is 2000 times 1125, which is good because the common dimension is 1920 pixels times 1080, which is the size of a video. So as long as it's around that dimension or bigger than that, that's good enough. Okay. Now let me show you, let me go on top of flower 2. Look at flower 2. The type is also called JPG. Fine. JPG means JPEG, which is an image. But look at the dimension. It's very huge, 6,000 to 4,000. That's also fine. But look at the size. Look at the size. The size is 2.79 MB, which is huge. Now, what is the difference between BG1 image, which is, look at the size. What's the size? It is 78. Can you see the size? It is 78.6 KB, which is very small, which is like, how many times it is smaller? But 4 times smaller, I think. It's 40 times smaller in compared to size, compared to a flower 2A. Now, why am I telling you this? Because when you place a picture on your web page, a very huge size like this is going to slow down your web page. And so when the web page doesn't appear fast enough, people are quite restless at times. They might like lose interest because everything is appearing very slow. So as a website developer, if you want your website to be fast, you need to make sure that your front page or your landing page has images which has got a smaller size. That makes things fast, okay? So I'm going to choose here, BG1B. I hope your images are the same as mine. If not, hopefully it's the same if you have downloaded. If you have not, then you should use another image, okay? But let's use BG1B, all right? I'm going to use BG1B, all right? So that's the name. I'm going to go back to my editor and type background BG1B. Don't forget, you need to put .jpg. If this is wrong, it doesn't read. So it has to be an exact thing, the name. If not, Google does not know how to read it. Save it, please. Could you do that for me? Right? I'll wait for some questions. Could you do that? Now, for those who have not downloaded this, you might have some difficulty, but it's okay. Just type along, all right? And then maybe later on, you could download those images. Thank you. Some of you have done it so fast. Some of you are really experts. Okay, good. Take a look. Go to your web page and click and check whether how's it looking. All right, please check how's it looking. Make sure you save it. Make sure you save it. Okay, so this is my, so good. Good. Sister Kanwal. Kanwal is saying it's done and it's working. Very good. Please check, please check. Okay, I'm going to, it is working, but look at that. Look at my image. It's not so nice. Why? Because it is totally so huge and it's out of my screen. All right, it's huge because we did not instruct the web page to exactly place it. We just say, just put it up there. That's it. So that's how it's looking like that. And this yogi is like half-bodied and it doesn't look like that, right? Okay, it doesn't matter. So let's give some instructions. So let's go back. Let's go back. And let's say, okay, what are we talking about? We are now talking about background. Let's check. Is there anything? Background size. Let's click background size. You got it? So I'm here. I'm going to type BAC and it's suggesting something. I'm going to say, okay, my size is not correct. Click size. All right. You see that? Okay, now Sister Harinder, right, is saying something very, very interesting. If you're reading the chat, she's saying, I used a small image of PV and it filled the whole screen with 6 of them automatically. That's interesting. I will show you how to do that. Okay. Okay, now, so I'm going to say, I'm going to solve. Okay. So never mind, let's do this. Now just type cover. Cover. Background size cover. Sister Harinda, hang on. All right. I'll come back to you in a short while. Let's save it and see what happens. Looks nicer for me. It looks nicer. Is it happening for you? Let me know. Background size cover. I'm telling the web browser, please cover my screen and not just place it anywhere. Okay, good. Yeah, all right. So this is how you do it. Now I'm going to tell you one more stuff. Then Brother Yogesh is also saying, when I minimize it, it appears as split image. Correct. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to minimize my screen. You want to try testing it? Those of you who are having this, please minimize it. How do you minimize? Press Control down and just scroll your mouse. No, does it happen? Minimize it. How does it appear? No. Sorry, again. All right, now this tend to happen. Let me just show you this. Okay, now I'm going to change this image. I'm going to change this image now. I'm going to show you something else. To PV, Peace Village. Can you see? So I'm going to copy this Peace Village name. What's the Peace Village? Peace Village BG. Can you see that? Now, if I place my mouse on Peace Village, look at the size of it. It's so small, 15.2 KB. And look at the dimensions. It's 300. It's only 300 pixels. But the entire computer screen is 1920 pixels, which means Peace Village photo here is only 300. It's like 6 times smaller. So you might end up having 6 photos on the web page. You know what I'm saying? Because this is just 300. And the screen requires 1900 pixels. So this picture is like 6 times smaller. And so you might end up having 6 times of this. Okay, let us try that. Okay, I'm going to type Peace Village background. All right. Okay, I'm going to type it here. Do not delete that inverted commas. Peace Village BG. I'm going to type that. Dot, don't forget it, dot JPG. Okay, all right, let's check. And I'm going to remove, okay, let's check what happens. Okay, so I'm going to remove this thing, save it. Can you see? I've got lots of this stuff, which means Google doesn't know. It's trying to cover the entire page, but it's like, okay, your size, the photo is just too small. I'm going to place it many. I'm going to repeat all those stuffs. That's what Google is doing, browser is doing. So if you don't want this to happen, you can do something else. You can type background repeat. Can you see background repeat? Background repeat. So I'm going to put background repeat and just type no repeat. That's it, no. And then it suggests no repeat. So please save it.
So, excuse me, Brother Nanda.
Yes.
I chose that same picture, the Peace Village one with the small size, but Google stretched it to fit the full web page.
Yeah, that's because you've got a background cover. Do you have a background cover?
Okay, yes, I still have that on.
Try removing it. I'm just showing you how to navigate through it. So let's remove the background size cover. Remove it first, then you'll see this happening.
Okay.
All right. So now,
thank you
for that. Good question. Thank you. All right. So now I said no repeat. So it's no repeat. So it's a single page. Then you can tell Google, hey, it's too small. You are not covering my screen. Okay, so you will tell Google, all right, please stretch that photo and cover it. So what must you type? You're going to say background cover, right? Background size cover. Background size cover. So if you say cover, then Google is going to say, okay, I will cover it, but your photo is too small. If I stretch it, it's going to look very ugly and low resolution. Can you see? The resolution is very low because it is stretched. So that this is not a good photo because it has been stretched by Google. All right. So if you want a very good photo, I suggest you take your own shots. Use your iPhone is really good. Take your own shots for this size and upload and use it. Yeah, it is blur. It is blur because a single small picture has been stretched. That's why it's blur. So this is not a good photo for you to use. It doesn't look nice. Okay. So I'm now going to go back. So now what did we learn? Background image. I'm going to go back. Okay. You want to try this? These three things are the same. We're going to use this all the way along. Manolo, Brother Manolo is asking, how will I recall an image that is inside another folder, inside the images folder? So what you're saying, you have an image folder and you have another folder inside it. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So you
yes,
can, yeah, so you can just,
sorry, the thing is, I took the other courses from you and we made these different folders. So I categorize my pictures on subfolders. So inside the main one, I have these other folders. So how can I say? It's necessary that all pictures and images has to be in the main folder, not categorized, or you can divide your pictures in a such way that you can identify easily to find, but also that will affect the way you recall the pictures.
yeah. Okay, so
I don't know, so I explain myself, but basically it's that it's a folder inside the folder, and it's there the pictures I want. So I'm gonna say to the system that is in a second folder, not in the main one, but in a subfolder.
Okay, what do you call that folder again? Okay.
no, well, let's say Brahma Baba or Brahma.
All right.
So,
So-
it's, on the image is, yeah, say.
So inside the images, you have another folder. Let's call it as photo or something. Okay, let's call it, as you said,
The
Brahma.
point or point images or something.
That's it. So you do it this way. So you have the images, and inside the images, you have another folder called Brahma. And inside that Brahma is where the Peace Village photo is. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yes. Well,
Ah,
we
so
call it Brahma is because all Brahma pictures are there.
okay, fine.
Brahma
So-
Baba, for example.
okay. I will suggest you just leave it as, I mean, this is for now, maybe let's remove this folder. If you can just put it inside in single
Okay.
folder, that will make things easy.
Yeah.
But you could always do it this way. So you can have images, and then you can have Brahma, you can have Peace Village. That's possible. All right, you can try
Thank
this.
you.
If it works, yeah. All right, if it doesn't work for time being, then just remove that folder or copy all the photos just into the images.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to change this as background BG1C, all right, which is our yogi. And okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to give you time, but let me show you first. All right, I've got this. So it looks okay for me. The image looks okay. Okay, for those of you who want to try another image, try it out. Which one would you like? I think 1B looks more subtle. All right, I'm going to try putting 1B. So I'm going to change 1C into 1B. Try it out and see. You can just test it out. Now, look at that. What happened? Something went wrong. Why? Can you see? My screen has got a red line. So whenever something like this appears, a red thing appears, it is telling you you made an error. You accidentally deleted something. Okay, I'm not sure. I think I deleted something. Okay, so let's undo it. Okay. So I'm going to say 1B. I think I deleted the dot. Let's try it and see. Okay. So if you delete the dot accidentally, okay, I'm not sure. Something will happen. Okay, 1B, that's fine. So now I'm going to save it. Okay, so it depends. If you think this is more subtle, use this. Okay, and if you think people who are coming would like to see something more subtle, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to wait for you, give you 30 seconds, make sure you're okay with this stuff, all right? Okay, can someone?
Nandabhai,
Yes.
if you have photos that you want to use that are way bigger than 1920 by 1080, what do you do then?
You want to use something bigger?
No, I'd like to downsize it to the right size so that it fits, because I'd like to use that picture.
If it's something bigger, okay.
It's like 3 megabytes size picture, and that was one with the smartphone.
Okay, I will show you that. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. Okay, right, good. Okay, so Sister Kiran is asking, what if the image that I'm going to upload is so huge? Obviously, it's going to drag your web page, and people are going to get bored. So that's a poor work, all right? So we need to make sure that's corrected. Okay, so I'm going to show you that in a short while, all right? Okay, good. Now let's move on a little bit. I'm just going to type 2 more quotes, and then I'm going to answer Sister Kiran's question. All right. So background size covered. Let's make sure that our background attachment, it's always fixed. It doesn't move anywhere when you scroll. Meaning, if you scroll this thing, I don't want that image to move up. So I'm going to say, I want my background attachment fixed. Do not move it, because it's always going to be there. So I'm going to type fixed and save it. All right. Of course, when you browse it, it's not going to show you any difference. It's just fixed. That's it. There's no difference. But when you scroll it, it's not going to move. People cannot move that picture. It's always going to be there. But everything else will move on top of it. So that your attachment is fixed. You could do that. Okay, so you've got this 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all right. Now you should do one more. Let's try one more. Now, however, I'm not so happy with this yogi sitting right at the bottom. I would prefer if you can have the yogi somewhere in the middle. You see, in the middle. So I'm going to ask Google, all right, could you please move this person up a bit, move the photo up a bit? So let's give some instruction to Google. Okay. Now, so I'm going to say background position. Is that background position? Yeah, it is, yeah, background position. Can you click on that? Okay, there's something on the chat, but I don't quite understand it. All right, so I'm going to answer this. I'm going to do this first. Background position. Now, where would you like this to be? So I'm going to try something. So please see where my image is. Let me try, and then you can try. This yogi is now at the bottom. So I'm going to say, this position is called center, bottom center. This guy, this person is at the bottom center. So I want it to be in the center of the center. So I'm going to say, okay, could you put it on the center space center? Let's try and see what happens. Okay, background position, center, center. Okay, let's see whether any changes occur. So the yogi is now here. I'm going to click my refresh. Please see whether it changes. Yeah, it went up a bit. So that's called center, center. You want to try that? You try and see. Okay. Meanwhile, the chat says, if your screen is taller than it is wide, the attachment fixed stretched the image. I'm reading the chat. I'm not sure. When you put attachment fixed, does it stretch the image? What happens, Laksha and Lavit? Please let me know, okay?
Shanti, and we were just saying that before we had like screen is a little taller. So the picture only took up this much space and this space is blank.
So it was as wide as the screen, but it was not as tall.
So then when you put the fixed, then the picture became larger to fill the screen.
So it became the right height, but it became wider.
Okay, so does it look okay? Does it look okay to you?
Yes, it fixed the problem.
Okay, all right, so that's it. Okay, good. So now you've got center, center. Now let's try something else. Let's try top center. Would you like to try top, TOP, top? Let's see what happens. Top center, top center. Save it, please, don't forget. So I'm not sure exactly where it's gonna go. Oh, it came back because it's not reading it. It says, no, I can't do that. So it went back to its original position. Oh, let's try bottom center. Does it work? Bottom center, right? Let's save it. See what happens. Okay. Now something happened. So it went right below and then it created more space at the bottom, right? Because I've pushed it up. I wanted the bottom part of it. Okay, now let's try something else. Bottom left. See what happens. I'm not sure. I am not sure what's going to happen. So bottom left, bottom right, you test it. I'm just giving you all these words so that you know, okay, this thing exists. It doesn't happen much. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at center, center. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Now, I know some of you will not become developers. That's okay, but you're still learning it. Now, have this thought in you. I am learning this so that I could instruct the ones doing it in a better way. You see, because if you don't understand something, you can't instruct the people doing it well enough. So if you understand the stuff, then you can say, no, I want it here, I want it here. All right. You missed out something, you know what you're talking about. And so you could instruct those developing the web page better. So you could play two roles. Either you could be the one doing it, or you can have the knowledge and then you can instruct people better. All right. So have this aim. All right. Because not all of you will become developers or people who do that stuff. Okay, good. Okay, so I've done that and saved it, and my image looks like this. Good. I'm quite happy with this. Okay. If you want to change to any other picture and test it, you're free to do it later. Okay. Now I'm going to help out. I'm going to show what Sister Kiran meant. Okay. So now the best way to do it, let's take a look at this. I'm now opening my images folder, and you can see all the images here. And I'm going to hover on Flower 2. Flower 2 has got 2.79 megabytes. That's huge. MB, right? That's huge. That's not so good. Okay, so the best and fastest way to do it is to get your PowerPoint opened. So you can see my PowerPoint now. You just watch. It's very easy. I've actually shown you this before, but let's refresh this stuff. Open a blank presentation. And let's remove this stuff. You would want to choose the correct size. Now, what's the size? The correct size is generally this 1290 times 1080, which actually translates to 19.6. No, is it 19.6? I'm not sure. What's the ratio here? 19. Yeah, this is the ratio. Let's take a look. So I'm going to click design. I'm going to click, 1619. Sorry, my memory is failing. Okay, so it's called 16. So that's the ratio you want to choose. Can you see? So PowerPoint is going to help you. So let's make sure we choose that. So how do we do that? Design. Can you see the slide size here on the right-hand corner? The slide size. Let me close my video. Okay. Slide size. Can you see widescreen 16.9? Because some of you might be having 4:3 ratio. So you would like to choose widescreen 16:9. So that's the one. All right. So now how do you make an image from PowerPoint? Let's go to insert pictures. Go to the folder where your images are. Here, that's my images. Choose the folder. Images. And I'm going to choose Flower 2. Why? Because Flower 2 is 2.79. Let's choose that. Insert. That's it. You just place it in your PowerPoint. Let me make it smaller. You don't have to stretch it, nothing. You could stretch it if you want to. Right? If you want to stretch it, that's fine. But it might spoil the picture, so don't need to. I'm just going to click on it, right click. I'm just going to right click. And I'm going to say, save this picture, please. Where in the same images folder. All right, I'm going to call it, this is Flower 2, right? So I'm going to call it as Flower. Flower, let's put Sister Kiran's name, Flower K. All right, I'm going to call it Flower K. All right, let's check, see what happens. Save it. You got that? So what did I do? I just placed the picture here, right click on it, save the picture. And then I saved it as Flower, Flower K, right? Okay, good. So now let's check. Let's go back to my folder. And I've got Flower K here. Now, please hover on top of it and look at the size. What's the size? 212 KB. Can you see that? I'm going to show it again. That someone is asking in the chat. Now, if I hover on top of flower 2, it is 2.79. Right? If I go here, it's going to be smaller. So I'm going to do that again for you. All right, let's try it again. So what do you do? What do you do? Okay, so you can actually stretch it. Probably it looks better. Now, how do you stretch this stuff? Let's make it bigger like this. Okay, all right, and or crop it. All right, see, I've stretched it. I've stretched it, and I'm going to crop this thing. If you want it exactly 16:9, I'm going to click on the picture and picture format. Let's crop it. So I'm going to crop it to the size of the, here, undo. Again, sorry, I'm going to crop it. That's that. Here. Okay, I'm going to just crop it nicely. Again, let me do it again. Okay, so I'm going to just move it here and place it here. And I'm going to crop it exactly to the slide. And then save it. No, it's not. Sorry, let me do it again, okay? Okay. All right, so I've undo. Okay, so this is my picture and I'm stretching it. Okay, stretched it. And then I am now going to crop it. Crop. And I'm going to just crop it so that it reaches my slide size. Done. Save the picture, right click, save the picture. And I'm going to save it as flower K. Saved. Done. Okay, so that's it. So now if I go back and check, yeah, okay, if I go back and check and hover on top of this, the size is 212. But if I go back to my flower, which is this, it's 2.79. So now I'm going to use this. So let's try putting this in. Let's try putting this in. I'm going to try this and show you what's the difference. I'm going to say flower 2 and flower K, all right? So watch this. So I'm going to say flower 2. 2, save it, okay? I'm going to test this, see what happens. Now let's try it again. Can you see the white background appears? That means it's telling you the image is loading at a slower rate because the image is very big, but the wording is here. But when I refresh, it takes like 1-2 seconds, depending on your computer. If your computer is old, it's going to take like 5 seconds to load, and that's irritating. Now let's change this to flower K, which is of smaller size, right? Make sure you follow. If there's a gap, you must have a space, okay? And let's see how fast this is. It's almost instant. Can you see? It's almost instant. So this is why a smaller web page photo will enable you to open the web page faster. Okay, all right. So that's how you do it. Hopefully, okay. So let's go back to my BG1B. Okay, save it. Good, done. All right. Hope you're okay. Is it too difficult? Let's take a moment of silence. Is it okay? All right, so let's take a moment of silence. Just remember Baba for 2 minutes. Okay, so let's move on a little bit more. All right. Let's get back. Everybody's okay? Any questions you have? So Leela's asking, can we do this using Paint? Yes, you can. Priyanka's asking, what is the extension file? Is still JPEG, JPG, right? So use JPG. Okay, good. All right, let's move on. Now I'm going to remove this thing now and make some modification. Let's put our navigation bar and so on. Okay. Now, but before that, once you have placed this image, you need to do one more stuff. Now, most people are actually using their phones to actually go into web pages. Not everyone uses laptop. Now you need to check how does it look on a phone. So how do you do that? It's like this. Please watch. I'm going to right click on this whole web page. Can you see? Right click. And I'm going to go right below inspect. And this on the right hand side are all the codes telling you something. Forget about that. I'll teach you that later. But look, that's how it's going to look like in iPhone SE. What is SE? Special edition? Okay. Or Galaxy Note or what? iPhone 12. That's how it's going to look like. So if you're not happy about this, then you need to change it. Oh, how does it look on my iPad mini? It's going to look like this. So can you see at the top, dimensions, iPad mini? Okay, so what else? Okay, I'm using Note 9, so let's see what happens. Note 9.
I lost you. How did you get to that?
Yeah, I lost you too.
Okay, again. All right, no problem. Okay, let's close this stuff. Right now I'm here, right? I'm on my web page. So right click on this web page. Right click and just move down and look for inspect. Now this is very important for those of you who would like to coordinate the work. You know why? Because somebody is developing it and maybe you could say, could I inspect how it looks like? So you are like the controller making sure things are of quality. So I'm going to click on inspect. And then you see, okay, in Galaxy Samsung, it looks like this. But I'm not so happy with the words because it is appearing as two lines. I want a single line.
Brother Nanda, my inspect comes down below. It's not on the right-hand side. And I don't have those menus coming up above the image.
Yeah, no, I don't have them either.
Is it like, okay.
So,
Nanda,
but way over on the far right, before the three dots, I found something called responsive design mode.
Okay.
And that seems to bring it up.
Okay. So you have a responsive. Okay, why am I not?
I don't know where, yeah, somewhere there.
I think that is because of the
Responsive.
browser. I have the Firefox, same as like Sister Kiran. And when I did it, for me, the inspector opened at the bottom. And then when I clicked on the three dots, I see responsive on the top. And from there, I selected.
All right. Okay. That doesn't matter. I think it is just the setting of it. Let's see how it works. Okay.
Brother Nanda?
Yes.
You can dock it to the right.
I think the problem is, you have to click this icon next to elements. It looks like iPad in a phone. Once you click this icon to the left of elements, then you can switch between mobile mode and normal view.
Right, that's a normal view. Yeah, try this, click this. Mobile view here, can you see this? Does it work?
Yes.
Okay, so there are two stubs here. One beside the element on the left hand side, there are two things. So one of it is mobile view. This is a mobile view, and that's the full view. So mobile view, I want a mobile view.
So
So
we have mobile view and element selector. Those are
yeah,
the two options there.
thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So then you click on the responsive. This is responsive. You choose the phone that you want. If you don't have that phone, you can actually edit them and add, I think so. All right. But for me, it's okay. So you can choose your phone and just take a look how it looks like. Yeah. Okay. So this is the view, the mobile view. Okay. Beside the element. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So don't worry. That's just the beginning of it, how to inspect. Okay. So I'm going to go out of this. I'm going to close this. How do you close this? On the right-hand side, there's an X button. X button. Click that and it's out. Okay. So I hope that's okay. But we will be inspecting from time to time. So that's no problem. Okay. Now let's get back to our editor. I wish to now remove this wording. I don't want this Brahma Kumari's meditation at this point. I'm going to remove it. Okay, I'm going to remove it. Okay, I'm going to delete that stuff. Why? The reason for that is I want to place boxes, or what I call as divisions, DIV, boxes. Last week I told you boxes, because that's how we place things inside, in boxes. So the first box, last week, we placed a box called Jumbotron, right? A Jumbotron. But you could do that. But I'm going to place another box today. So I'm going to go into Bootstrap again. Let's go into Bootstrap. Let me type and show you. I'm going to say, call for a box called container. A container is a box. So I'm just going to click on container. All right. So there are many, many containers. Let's keep it simple, basic. So a simple container is here. Can you see? It's already done for you. So I'm going to use either fluid or all-in-one. So now what's the difference between these two? It's a container's a box, but it's probably only 90% of the width. A container fluid is 100% of your screen width. Now, which one would you like? It's up to you. So I'm going to choose container fluid. Let's choose fluid. So it's going to be 100%. Okay, or maybe I'll choose container first, then I can type fluid here. That's also possible. So I'm going to copy this thing. All right, so I'm going to give you some time. Can I give you 30 seconds? Say, go to Bootstrap. Go to Bootstrap, type in the search box, container. Container, Bootstrap, container. And then you have to copy this all-in-one for now. Let's choose this. Let's copy it. And please paste it in the body, in the editor, in the subline. Okay, let's paste it. Yeah, that's what I've got. So hopefully you can do that here. Of course, you can't see anything because there's nothing there. And then now you type Brahma Kumaris, H1, 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 tab, H1. You know this, right? Brahma Kumaris meditation. Okay, so that's what I've done. And if you can do this and then see what happens, that's good enough. It will look almost the same, but we have now placed a container, a box. Okay, please save it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to refresh. So it's going to appear like this. So that's a container. Okay. Everybody's okay? Good. Now, if you want to see, if you want to make sure, is the container there? How do I know? Then you probably want to put a color. Let's test it out. Now, how do you put a color? If you go back to Bootstrap, Remember last week we did color. Let's put background color, background. I'm going to type background color. Yeah, all right, background color. So this is the code for background color. So all you have to do is just copy BG primary and it will look blue. Look, let me test this out, okay? So I'm going to go back, I'm going to copy this thing, BG primary. If you want yellow, it's BG warning. If you want something different, BG info. Okay, I'm going to go with BG info. So now look, I'm going to do this here. I'm going to say, okay, container, give me a color. So beside the container, I'm going to say BG info. That's it. So now the container should look or should have a color. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to show it to you and then you try. Okay, no color. So there is a color. So this is my container. Can you see that? Could you try that? Could you try that? Okay, get me this. Okay, so what you have to do is container. I'm going to undo this stuff. So you've got this. I'm also going to undo this stuff. Okay, so if you have already done this, let's type. Oops. Okay. I'm going to type H1. I'm going to do it slow. Those who are fast, you can do it. H1. And then type Brahma Kumaris. Meditation. That's it. So I've got this name. And then I want to give a color. What color would you like to give? BG warning. Warning is yellow. Orange. Okay, warning. Save it.
Sorry, what's the BG stand for?
BG, background. BG is
Oh, okay,
background. I copied this from Bootstrap. Okay, so you've got all this here. You just have to type background color and it will appear. So for time being, let's choose this. Or if you want it darker, yeah, that's fine. You can test it out. D-A-R-K, dark. You can get these names from the Bootstrap. But however, if you want it to be of different color of your choice, then that's different. You have to do some styling, all right? I'll show you that also. Okay, let's keep it simple for now. So I've done black. Okay, you all right? Good. But now my text looks black. I don't like that. So I'm going to change this. Okay, I'm going to wait. Is there any problem so far? Sister Ashana Vasudeva. Ashana is asking, is there any idea to how to get inspect in Safari? Can you open Google in Safari? I think that's possible. My staffs have done that before. If you can, all right, then it becomes easier. I'm not sure. You could try later. Okay. But Safari doesn't, because Mac uses a completely different code. So that's why it doesn't read the browser that well, Google. So they're like competitors. So Safari may not be so friendly with Google, so it may not read this stuff. Okay, so now let's take a look. I've got this. I've got this. Okay, now let's say you want to change this text into another color, because it looks black, dark, right? So let's go to Bootstrap and just say, okay, give me a text color, please, text color. You see that? Text color. Do we have text color? No, it should be somewhere. Well, let's say color. Color. Okay, so I put color, yeah. Can you see text color? Just say color and text color. So what color would you like? Would you like text to be white? So you just say text white. Would you like the text to be in green? Green is text success. Would you like it to be red? Text danger, text warning, so whatever. I'm going to choose text white. Okay, And then there's also text white 50, which means it's grayish. So let's try both of that. So I'm going to say, okay, could you make the text white? Okay, are you watching what I just did? So beside the container, I'm going to say whatever text is inside the container should look white. So just type text white, and the background should appear dark. That's what that's the instructions I'm giving. Okay, I've saved it, and I'm going to see what happens. Refresh, and it's white. Try it out. Try another text color if you want to. I can give you a minute or so. Okay. It didn't work. If it didn't work, just undo and anyhow.
It didn't work. Do I have to put something
not
in
reading
between the
anything
DG
I'm
info and the
putting
text
Huh?
bar?
Did you save it? Okay, again. So did you copy this correctly? Anyone works? Priyanka works, Sangeeta, Lata works. Okay, now what? Maybe you missed out something. Now, container, there's a small space. Then DG, you need to have a dash. All right. Make sure you've written it inside the inverted commas. If it doesn't work, let's redo it. Just undo it.
Ah, okay. I know what it is.
Maybe there's a small thing you missed out. No dash or no inverted commas. Yeah, or brackets.
Line between the text and the white.
Yeah, so you need to be exactly, because there are millions of codes out there, so it will not be able to read. Okay. Okay, good. So it works. I think it's probably because you forgot the dash, or maybe you wrote it too without space. Okay, so
yeah.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so Sister Lata has also placed it in the chat. You can just copy it. Okay, all right, good. So okay, so for those who are not getting it, I'm going to also put it in the chat. You can just copy mine and paste it there if it doesn't work for you. Okay, good. Now, so we've got this. Now, let's go back. Then you see, okay, doesn't look good because I don't like, look at my page. I don't like the space at the end. I don't want that space towards the left and towards the right. I want it full. I want it 100%. So all you have to say is, okay, let's make it 100%. And 100% is just called as fluid. So beside the container, put a dash, container dash type fluid, and save it. That's it. You got it? So I'm going to copy this and paste it in the chat. Okay. All right.
I copied it from the chat and pasted it in there, and still nothing.
Sorry, Sister Kiran, did you save it? Okay,
Yeah.
let's remove the whole thing. Remove the whole thing. Okay, try this, Sister Kiran. Remove the whole thing. Go to the chat. Copy what I just sent to you.
Yeah, I did do that. I
you
did all that.
And you're not getting it?
Nope.
Okay, are you looking at the right? Okay, close your browser. Close your browser. Close it. That means, example, I'm going to do that.
Can I just close the tab, or I have to close the browser?
Yeah, close the tab. Close the tab. And then now go back to your folder. Go back to your folder and click it again on the lesson 2.
Okay.
Might work now.
Nope.
Okay. Why is that? Okay. So maybe you're looking at a wrong tab or wrong something. You're probably looking at the wrong file.
Anyway, don't endeavor.
Okay, fine.
Just go on.
Okay, all right. Okay, now let's take a look. I'm going to show you one more stuff. Okay. Now let's say now you don't want this background, so you can just remove the background, right? You can just remove it. You can also remove it. Fine. Let's save it. It's gone. Now Now, let's say you don't want any background because you want it subtle. Okay, you want it subtle. Okay, so but anyway, I'm going to have the background to show you the difference now. Okay, so now, right now, I want this entire black box here to move slightly lower. So if I want it to move lower, I need to add a space on top of this black box. And that space is called margin. All right. So Bootstrap has got a built-in margin here. So what I can say is anywhere here, you can just say you can put after the fluid or after the text white or after the background dark, it doesn't matter. You just say, okay, margin top. Can you see the short form is MT? M, letters M and T. Margin top dash, you can choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being the maximum space. I'm going to choose 5. What is this MT? MT is short form for margin top. So which says, okay, give me some space, big space at the top. Now you don't have to type all this because generally it's ready-made for you, but I'm teaching you this so that later on you know how to manipulate them, right? So, all right, I'm going to save this first. All right, see what happens when I refresh. It's going to create some space. Can you see it? I can see some space. Okay, all right. So I'm just showing you this because I want you to know what's margin, what margin means. So if you want margin bottom, then you just put MB, margin bottom. If you want margin left, let's try margin left, all right? So look at this. Where is this Brahma Kumaris? Okay, it's here, right? So if you put margin left, what's going to happen? Let's try. So let's type ML, margin left dash 5. What's going to happen? This get pushed over this side. Okay. So I'm just letting you know there's margin top, margin left, margin right, margin bottom. You can play around with it. Now change it to 1 if you want to. Change it to 3. Maximum is 5 because that's built-in system for Bootstrap. Okay, so I'm going to remove margin left. Okay, I'm just showing you all this stuff so that when you read the Bootstrap codes, you know what's there. Okay, all right, so you got it? Good. So now I'm going to save it, refresh it. Now, let's say I want some space. See, outside the box is called margin. But I want some space between the words here and the box, the border and the words. So the space here, that's called padding. Padding, P-A-D, a padding between these letters and the top brown, top black border. But if it's outside the box, that's called margin. If it's inside the box, it's called padding. So I'm going to add some padding top. Let's add padding, all right? Okay, so I'm going to say padding. You can put anywhere you like. Let's try here. Padding top dash 5. Let's try, okay? Save it. Okay, you can watch what I'm doing this. So you've got more space here, can you see? So, but that's too much of space. So I'm going to say just padding 2, all right? Now, if I just put P, what is P? Padding. When I just say P, it's going to do padding top, bottom, left, right, all together. So I can do P2 or P5. Let's check P5, see what happens. I'm going to add padding 5 on top, padding bottom, padding left, padding right. It became like this. So there's padding 5 pixels here. On top, there's about 5. Bottom, there's 5. And there's also margin on top 5. So you have now created your header. Get it? Okay. Now, what I want you to do on your own, can you try this? Can you try this? Can you try this stuff? and I don't like this black, maybe you can change it to something called light, BG light. Okay, I'm just going to keep on doing the same stuff. You guys, you over there, please try on your own. I'm just going to try it out. I'm going to say BG light now, because I want something lighter color. Let's see what happens. It became light. And I don't want this margin at the top, so I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove the margin at the top. So just remove it. So I don't want margin. You can put 0 or you can just remove it. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to change, yeah. I'm going to change my text to text dark. Okay, so I'm going to, now what did I do? Text dark, background light, and there's no margin. Okay, there's no margin. All right. I'm just teaching you how to manipulate. That's it. Okay. Good. Would you like this? Yes.
Yeah. Question about the padding and the margin that we did, right? So in case of just we say P padding, that is top, bottom, left, right, all, right? All four.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just tried. So what happens with that is I'm able to see left, top, and bottom, but I'm not able to see applied at the right.
You can't see because there's too much space on the right. Of course, there's a padding here. There is a padding here, but you can't see it.
Okay, but margin should be a visible one, right, Brother Nanda?
Margin top, or you just wrote it as M5?
Just M5.
Okay. You can't see it. Okay, let's try it. Okay, I'm going to say M5. You can't see that because I'm going to say M5. I just typed M5. So if it's M5, it's going to push the whole thing down. You push, also there's a margin at the bottom. There's margin on the left. There's also a margin, but you can't see because this thing is so long, it's 100%. So the margin right is there, but you can't see it. Okay, so forget about that because you can't see it. Okay, it is definitely there. Okay, so therefore I would suggest just choose margin top or left. The right you can't see it. Only in certain cases you'll be able to see it. Okay, let's save this stuff. Okay, refresh. And I don't like this white stuff. If you don't want this white stuff, that's fine. If you think it's blocking the head of the yogi, then reduce the padding. Let's reduce the padding to 2, P2. That's also fine. Okay, refresh. Okay, if you like this stuff. Okay, let's leave it like this first. But I would like to increase the padding on the left alone. Now, you can also add padding left, -5. See, I'm adding padding left 5. So here, if I refresh, it will move left, but the others is maintained. Okay, so, or if you don't want the P alone, you can type one by one. You can type P, padding top, padding left, padding right, one by one. That's also allowed. BK, Sister Patti is asking, can I center the name? Yes, you can. Good. So, Sister Patti, is it Sister? Yeah, I'm so sorry. You've asked me whether you can make this thing right in the middle. You could, because the code for that is text center. Try and see. Text center. Save it and see what happens. It comes in the middle. All right, so I'm teaching you how to manipulate or read the codes which is given by Bootstrap. So for now, I'm not going to put it in the center. I'm just going to say text, just remove it. So it will be at the left-hand side. Okay. All right, so you got that clear? All right, good. Now let's add one more stuff inside here. If you want to add more space on top, that's fine. Teju's asking, what if I want to add image below the white box, not get hidden under the banner at the top? You could. We are definitely going to add some boxes here and some photos here. Okay, good. But before that, let's add our navigation bar. Navigation. Remember, you need navigation, right? Navigation. Now, if you don't want the background light, remove the background. That's also fine. So I'm removing the background. Let's check what happens. There's no background. Ruby is asking, we use MR5. Yeah, you could. That will work. Okay, all right. Container LG, yeah? LG means different, but for now it should work. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm going to now add the navigation bar here. Remember the navigation bar? Let's add that. I'm going to go to Bootstrap. Am I too fast? Is everyone okay about this thing? So what have I done? I've removed the background BG light. Okay, I can add some padding if you want to. Let's add padding more, 3, if you want to. You can play around with it, okay? Okay, if you want more, that's also fine. Okay, let's add in padding 5. That's also fine. Padding top 5. I'm going to add padding top 5. Okay, save it. Leave it to you, okay? But I'm choosing padding top 5. Okay, I like this. Okay, fine. Now, right below, I want to add the navigation bar. Okay, let's try that. So let's go to Bootstrap and type navigation bar or Nav Bar. So remember this, but we chose something simpler. I'm not choosing this because this is a bit more complex. It requires some database and so on. So we're not going to do this at this moment. I'm going to choose a nav bar where we can have drop-down link. Where is that? Here, a nav bar with a drop-down link. That's what I would like to have. Okay. Now, if you see this code, can you see this code? It's already done. Nav bar light, background light. So you can now modify it, change this. That's why I just taught you those steps. Okay, I'm going to copy this thing. Could you also do the same thing? Copy. So go to your Bootstrap, go to this navigation bar, nav bar, drop down link, look for this drop down link and copy it, please. And then paste it. I'm going to show you where to paste. Have you copied it? Okay. Now, where do you want to paste this thing? I want to make sure I paste it inside this box because I want it to be the header. This is my box, all right? So this is my box, Brahma Kumari's meditation, and I want it to be under here. So it has to be inside the container, not outside the container. Good, let's go back. So now make sure you paste it correctly. So this is the div. Can you see the div? Div means box. Class means what? Class means the name of the box. The name of the box is container fluid. And inside that container fluid, I've got the header. My header number 1, which is Brahma Kumari's meditation. You got that? I'm just spacing it out. You don't need to. And I'm going to say, okay, let me type and paste my navigation bar at number 31. So I'm going to say Control V. Let's paste it there. That's a lot of things. Okay, you don't need to know all those things, but it's pasted at 31. Fine. Let's save it now. Could you do that? Save it and see what happens. Do you want me to repeat? Let me know if you need to repeat. Okay. So I'm going to refresh, and this is how it looks like.
Is it the number 1 nav bar code? Is
Sorry,
it on
again?
the top?
Again?
The code that we have copied, is it the one in the beginning, like on the top?
The one which is on the beginning, Okay, so you are at Nav Bar. So go down. It's not the first one, because the first one has got a drop down, but it's got a search. I don't want this. So scroll to number brand, scroll some more. After Nav, Nav, you'll see Nav. Go down a bit, and then Nav Bar, and you see a drop down link. That's what we want. Okay. All right, try this out.
Yeah.
Everybody's okay? Okay, there's a drop down link. Okay. All right, thank you, Laksha. I love it. You must be experts. You must already know a lot of stuff, isn't it? Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, right. So for those of you who already know the basics, I suggest you be a bit patient. Yes, somebody's asking something.
How do we parse this code? Like when you paste it, it goes everywhere. Like how do we align it?
Oh, you want to align this stuff?
Yeah, for example, it's going like a paragraph wise, right? Paragraphs, subparagraphs.
Yes, lots of paragraphs. Okay, so for time being, let's leave it like that until you get used to all these things. I will definitely come into it, no worries, okay? But because if you start aligning now, if you accidentally delete something, then it's going to read it differently. So for now, let's leave it for now, okay? For now. Okay.
Brother Nanda.
Yes.
Hi. I wanted to know if, sorry, 1 second.
Yes, Sister Ruby.
I wanted to know if you can make the nav bar or the container, can you make it like transparent? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, you can. Okay, the nav bar. Yeah, I'm going to show you that now. So let's go back to this. I don't want this white here. So if you're looking at my page, okay. Now, when you're designing, make sure it's the right size. Look, just now I was designing it in a smaller size. So to get it in the right size, press Ctrl+0. It goes to the original size. So this is the original size where people are going to see it, how people are going to see it on your laptop. So press Ctrl+0 and reset to 100%. Okay, now, so I don't want this white stuff here. I want it to like look subtle. So let's go and remove this background light. So if you look at the nav bar, at mine is 31. Can you see 31? The background here is shown as light. So if you remove that, there will not be any color. But let's say if I put this as primary, I'm just testing, you can test it out. Then you're going to have some other color. Can you see? You can change it as you like. If you want it dark, of course, all these names you can refer in the Google. Just type background color and then it appears. Dark, then it is going to look dark. So it depends. So what is the purpose of this? So when people land on this, do you want them to their attention? Do you want their attention to go to the nav bar first or the yogi first? So if you want their attention to go to the nav bar, then this should be darker. But if you want it subtle, you want them to look at the yogi, then let's remove the color. So it all depends on how you vision it, how you see it. So I'm going to remove the BG light here, BG light, okay? This BG dark, so I'm going to remove that stuff and save it. So now it's going to look like this, okay? So it depends on the background, how it's going to capture. Now, there's also, if you look at the nav bar, see, this is the nav bar. Of course, you can click them, but it's not functioning yet. We have not linked it anywhere. It needs adjustment. So I'm going to wait for you. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, for you to get used to it.
Brother Nanda?
Yes.
Yeah, so for the Navbar, for me, when I go to the Bootstrap, instead of showing horizontal, it's actually showing on the
right hand side shows like 3 lines, and when I click on that, then I can see all the home features and pricing. So I'm not sure why it's showing that way.
Your screen must be very small. That's why it's condensing it to make it only 3 lines, which you have to click.
Like this. Okay. So if you're
okay.
seeing like this, okay, it is, if your screen is small, it's going to look like this. Okay, we will adjust that later. Okay, but,
thank you.
Okay, increase, maximize your screen, maximize. Okay. All right, so anyone else has got question? You okay with that?
Yeah. Let's see. Sorry about that. How do you make the nav bar transparent so that some of the image from the background is coming through, but you can still see the bar?
You want to see the bar, but you
Like,
don't want the background color, but you would like to have the bar. Is that what you're saying?
A little bit of color. So let's say you used yellow, but the yellow was subtle and the background color would still be coming through. The background image.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Again, that can be done easily. All right. Maybe not today, because that will require some other manipulations, not a built-in. Right now, what we are learning is built-in codes in the Bootstrap. So definitely I'll teach you that. All right.
You know, like if you did blue, for instance, and it's very dark, but you just wanted a subtle blue and then a little bit of the image coming through. That was what I was thinking.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that can be done. It's not difficult, but I think it's going to be next week. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Okay. So
yes, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Now next, so that's the nav bar. You see. So now let's inspect this thing. Inspect. And doesn't seem to be right. Okay. The image is completely out. Okay. Something is not so right. Okay. So we need to correct that, but hang on, doesn't matter. Now let's go back to here. So I've got my nav bar here. Nav. Okay. And if I scroll down, it's inside the container. Yeah, it's inside the container. So everything is okay. And what else should we do? Okay. Now there's a lot of space here. Can you see? There's a lot of space between Brahma Kumari's meditation and the nav bar. I want to reduce that. Okay, I want to reduce that. So it could be because there's something over here. Now what we can do is, now there's one more stuff which we call as, again, sorry. Now I need to know where this box, this thing ends, all right? So let's check and see where it ends, okay. So for that, what you can do, you can type, or you can go to Bootstrap and just say border, type border, go to Bootstrap, type border, and okay, so the word is border, all right, border. And then you can add some colors to it, which we call as border, border, primary. So what I want is, I want to see the border and I want to give it a color. So to see the border and give a color to the border, I can choose any one of this. So I want to have a border and a border dark. So this is the code I would like to have. Just copy it. You can copy any one of this. Do you know what is this? This is the border saying that I want a border. The next code says, please make the border blue color, which is primary. So I'm going to copy it, any one of this. I want a border and I want that border to be dark. So copy that. I'm copying only this. Don't copy all, copy only one of it. And I'm going to paste it on the container fluid right here. Can you see border, border, dark? So this is how save it. So this, by this, you are telling, I want a border for that container. Let's see what happens, okay? So let me show you, then you try. So I've got a border here, which looks like this. So now I know I've got a lot of space here. And the border is right. Yeah. Again, I will repeat stuff.
Where
Okay.
did you paste it?
Okay. All right. So I want the border for the container. So this is the container. And you can paste it anywhere here, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Anywhere as long as it's there inside the two arrow brackets. So container, you can add it in front or in the middle, at the end. So I'm just going to add it at the end. I'm going to paste it here, border, border dark. Or border, border primary, or whatever color you want. All right, so this is how you add borders. Okay, so let's check again. I'm going to change it to red. So red is what? Red is warning. Yeah, warning, not warning. Red is danger, but warning is orange. All right, let's try orange. So it became orange. So if you want it to be gray, I'm not sure that there's gray, but let's put it primary or dark. Okay, dark. So you can try that out and see whether it works for you. Okay, so that's how you add a border. Okay, so now you have what we call as a header, right? Now, if you think that the padding on top is too much, because we have padding top 5, reduce it. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the padding top to 3. Make it smaller, padding top. See, this is very large padding. Okay, if you feel this is good. Okay. Now we can also adjust this stuff here. Hang on, let's adjust this stuff. Okay, I'll wait for a while. Oh, it's almost 2 hours. Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, good. So now one more last one. Now, look at this nav bar. The nav bar has got a lot of space. And look at this nav bar here. It's got some space at the left. I think that's the padding. That's the padding. So I'm going to remove this thing. In fact, I want to remove this nav bar. I want to remove this nav bar. Okay, and change it to home. I want to change this nav bar to home, right? Let's try that. Okay, so let's go back. So where's the nav bar? This is the nav bar at 31. And the word nav bar is here. Remember, you can only change the white text. White letters are text. So you can type something here called home page. Okay, the home page. Save it. That's how you change the home page. Okay. So nav bar now will change to home. It's home. Can you see that? Okay, again. So what did I just do? I'm at number 32. And it says nav bar. I don't want that because it doesn't mean anything. You can type something. So I'm going to remove and replace the nav bar with home. It's a home button. Okay, save it. I've got a home button. Okay, you can try that. And also the last thing, you look at this. There's a padding on the left. It's a padding on the left. I don't want that padding. I want it to be aligned. So I can go back here, where nav bar. and say, I don't want any padding. So where is that? So remember this. This is the nav bar, right? The home page, home. And I will say, okay, beside the nav bar brand, the yellow text, just say padding left 0. There's no padding left. I just put 0, save it. I'm going to do it, and then you try. Nothing happens. So if nothing happens, that means at the wrong place. Okay, so I'm going to remove it. So let's try it. Number 31. Padding 0. Padding 0. I'm going to put padding 0. Save it. What's padding? Padding means the space in between. Space in between. So let's refresh. Something happened. Yes, padding became 0. So now it's aligned. So if you type something and it doesn't work, that means you have placed it at the wrong place. Okay, what did I do again? At number 31, I just added P0, which means padding 0. So when I did that, it moved to the left because there's no more padding. Okay, so that's padding, no more padding at all. Okay, so now let's bring it closer here. Let's bring it closer. Okay, let's bring this navigation bar closer up. That's the last code we're going to learn today. So what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say, I don't want any margin at the bottom. So I'm going to say margin 0, margin bottom 0. Let's try what happens. So for Brahma Kumari's meditation here, I'm going to say, I want margin 0. But however, I can't add margin 0 here because I don't have any yellow text. You see that? So I have to do something else for it. So for now, I can't adjust it. So this is where I'm going to stop. So next week, I'm just going to continue from here. Okay, I'm going to continue from here. I'm going to get this closer here next week. I don't need this border. Okay, let's remove this border. So if you want to remove the border, you can just remove the border here. Okay, remove the border. If you want to keep it, that's fine. And you need to now think, would you like to have some other pictures? What are the stuffs you want to put on your front page? If you can imagine that, and then we can work things out. Now, one more thing, the yogi's head is being blocked by this header. So if you want to bring it down a bit, what will you do? Right now, it is at center, right? This place is called center. So if I want to bring it down, so maybe you should type, what should you type? This is now center. Try top center, see what happens. So, yeah. So now it went down a bit because I said top. I want the top to be seen, so it moved down. So now it looks different because the yogi is now clear with my header. Now I can give any color to this header and it doesn't block the yogi. All right, okay. This background was done in PowerPoint. It's not difficult, all right? So you can design your own because I don't see any interesting backgrounds of BKs, not so much. It looks very ordinary in the Google images. So maybe you can create your own. Any other questions you have?
Nanda, this nav bar, what you put it, it's under the div element, first div element. So is it mandatory, or how it is, how the hierarchy goes? Like, you know, whatever the elements that we are going to put it, that all should go under div, or we should finish div at one point and then add another element?
Ah, good. So you have one div here. I've actually placed the navigation bar inside this div because I wanted the Brahma Kumari's header and the nav bar to be always together. But what sister's asking is it possible to put it in a different div? Yes, it's definitely possible. So it's up to you. You can choose if you want it to be in a different div. That's also possible. So for now, I am placing these two in the same div. But later, when I put new images here or some new words here on this left side of this image, then I'm going to have another div. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. But the div is also known as grid, grid, G-R-I-D. Okay, so I'm going to show you that in the next lesson. Okay, anything else coming up?
Brother Nanda, let me ask you a question. If I want to change the color of my nav bar of the words on the text, can I do that also?
Oh, definitely you could.
Because I try to put in the same on the nav class on the first line after the P0, I put text white, text/white, but it didn't actually do anything.
Okay. All right, so I'll let you know the reason. I'm using text primary now. I think it's not going to work. The reason, let's check. Didn't work because this nav is actually not controlling the text. So if I take this text and go to somewhere else, example, let's go to here. Can you see number 39? Number 39.
Yeah, nav
I'm going to try to paste it on this class. Okay, I'm going to try to paste it on either the li list means list, or a. Try pasting on beside here. I'm going to paste it here now. Let's see what happens. Okay, 38. I'm pasting it at 38. Text prime. Let's see whether it works. It didn't work. Okay. Now.
I think you have to put it in next to that href. Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. So I'm putting it at navlink text primary.
But
does it work? Okay. There it worked. Can you see? So can you see it became blue? Now what it means is the text is controlled by this class, not others. So you need to place what you want at the right class, beside the right class. So this is how you change it. Okay. So you place it at the right place, the right name, beside the right name, the color will change. So if I put background primaries, whether it works. Okay, so this is under home, right? Home, can you see home? On number 39, background primary, I'm going to change it. Background became blue. Okay, so this is something you can test it out, but there's a little bit more finer things which I will pick up next week. Okay, hope that's it. All right. Okay, thank you. So you can just test it out. I'm going to stop.
You're gonna send us that the YouTube link for this lesson, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll also explain to you how to change from Edge to Chrome or other stuffs. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So
Brother Nanda, sorry, I changed this. We added this color to the nav bar. I did add text color. I think it was primary, text primary, and then I removed it, and everything got removed from the page. Nothing is visible.
You accidentally deleted something more. So you have to undo it, go 2 steps behind, save it, check, and then redo it. Okay. You accidentally. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Let's have just 1 minute of Baba's remembrance. Okay. All right. Okay, Om Shanti, thank you so much. So I'll see you again next week. Any questions, just let me know. All right. Please be patient. I know it's a bit difficult. All right. Takes time. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, Navbar.
Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti.
Very much.
All right. I will.
Shanti.
Okay.
Shanti.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.